supposed
We're
to
learning.
just, like, start.
Hey, why do we not have our homework out, guys?
Actually, correction, I have one right
Yeah, can you write on it right now?
now.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Well,
So
I'm
you don't
actually
have it
not-
out, you're not checking your work.
It's actually
Devin,
right.
did you check in the back to see what you missed yesterday?
It's already correct.
Always go back to the back to see what you missed.
There's nothing incorrect on it. I'm just
Cordell, come on now. You've been in here too long for you to not have it out yet.
As I can.
I was trying to set up the camera and y'all are acting like you don't know what to do.
I think I love my.
The only thing I screwed up on, actually, I got all the mics except for 4.
One of
The
these
first
is
one, I got
talking.
2, 3 instead of 2,
One
4.
of these cameras is talking to you.
It's talking.
Yeah, it's
It's not talking, it's singing.
Oh, this?
The only thing I screwed up on was 2.
Oh, where's your 5.2?
Oh, you can't. Don't leave me. Don't leave me.
Oh.
Yeah, you're supposed to do
I see
1,
that.
2, 3,
I got it right.
4,
Don't
and...
tell me this kid feel happy that you did it and you didn't.
No.
You got it, Devin? The stuff with your name on it? There you go.
Why do you have the telltale heart?
Why don't you?
Because I read that in 8th grade.
Oh yeah, Ms. Nash.
Oh, don't get me started.
Because
The
that...
Telltale Heart is so good.
The Telltale
It
Heart,
is kind of good.
how is it good?
It's fantastic.
It's
It's just well written.
It is well written.
Was it? Emery was not here yesterday, was she?
She was here yesterday.
So-
She was on my head. She's my little ball.
That's right.
Ball head, you know, ball head.
So
So,
she's not here today.
you were excited about reading about someone that committed a murder.
Yes,
No, it was just a very
Oh, yeah.
interesting story.
Man, you're out.
You read the whole.
Let me.
This is like a
It
whole
would
book.
be real nice to you this
I got
weekend.
it.
When you're not looking, I'm gonna sneak in the house, cut your eye out. Oh, and by the way, I can hear your heart.
No, I did, Miss King.
Oh, and by the way, the devil's talking about you because I can hear heaven and hell too.
I don't remember
Yeah.
that story very well, except for something off the floor, something by the heart.
We had
He buried the body under the floorboards in his room, I believe, didn't he?
Something like
And
that.
then he was hearing the heart, even though it wasn't there, and it made him
He was having a
freak
panic
out. And I
attack.
think he
Confess.
confessed to the police, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
He cut the body up.
Oh, he
and
like
blew it out.
killed his like servant or
We
something.
should
No,
read
it was his
it.
roommate. He killed his roommate because his roommate had an eye, and he was.
Oh, yeah,
didn't want
he
And
to-
did.
it freaked him out.
Yeah.
Yep.
You should let us watch
He cut his
it.
body
As I
up.
said, really interesting story. But we got to get started with some math today,
And I
because learning and mathematics and all the good stuff. And I do, first off, before I just start saying anything, does anyone have any questions because maybe they messed something up or they weren't sure how to do it? Yes, ma'am. Go over number 1. Okay. So notice the directions say identify which of the given points are solutions. What should we automatically think about if we're talking about solutions?
anything that makes
Which
the
one
equation
makes
false.
statement true?
Okay, when you say the statement, we're talking about
The
equation, right?
equation. Yeah.
So it is a mathematical statement. We wanted to acknowledge that as an equation, right? So Desiree, when I look right here and when I look at a point, which variables are we talking about when we talk about points? Which one comes first? Just like alphabetically, X is first. So I'm only going to do a couple of these points, but I want you to notice, if I'm looking at A, what could this 2 take the place of? Which variable is that? The X, right? That's it. Don't make it more complicated than that. And so when it's 3x, don't forget that's multiplication, so that's 3 times 2. And then what could this 4 take the place of? So 2 times 4 equals 12. So if it's a solution, these numbers make that equation true. But that becomes 6 plus 8. Does that equal 12? No. So that's not a solution. Does that make sense, Desiree? But like if I check C and I check D, what could this 4 take the place of?
7.
X. So 3 times 4, what could the 0 take the place of? 3 times 4 is 12. 12 plus 0 is? So you see how that makes the equation true?
Yep.
Same thing with D. If you check it, 3 times 0 plus 2 times 6, does that equal 12?
No, it equals 7.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yes,
it
it equals 12. Thank you, Peyton, for trying to be funny.
Ha ha ha.
Ha ha ha.
Uh,
There we go. Does that make sense though?
yes.
Okay. So then it's a very similar idea with number 4, except we just need to recognize this 2. What could that 2 take the place of? The x. And we don't know what the y is, but 2 plus y is equal to 6. Now this is a very simple one. Notice these other two are a little bit more complicated. But what could I easily do? So, I mean, obviously 2 plus 4 is 6. But what did we learn about last unit within equations and inequalities that could help me solve this equation?
Inverses.
Right? What would I use to get rid of that 2, to undo it?
-2.
Can I just subtract 2 right there?
Nope.
No, you gotta.
Gotta do it to the other side? What is that called?
Property of equality.
Property of equality, right? We're trying to create that equivalent equation, the property of equality. So y is equal, and don't forget, that creates the identity 0. 0 plus y is y. Y is equal to 4. Right? Now, I do want to point this out here on C. What would that 0 take the place of? Y. So x plus 0 is equal to 6. Do I need to use an inverse to solve that equation?
No,
No.
No. Why not?
because
Yeah, 0.
You have 0. You already have the identity there. What is x plus 0?
6.
What could this simplify to?
0. I mean,
X equals 12.
How about just x?
yeah.
Isn't the whole point of 0 plus y is just y? X plus 0 would just be x. And so we know x is equal to 6.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? We go with those ideas? So we understand how to plug our x and y's in and then solve that equation?
Yep.
If you want to, I'd go ahead and circle 2 and 5. Those are 2 of your 4 homework questions for tonight. Yes, Kelsey?
The little line was confusing me. The little line.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's just supposed to be one single line and it didn't print that way.
Okay.
That's
I thought
all
it was
that
supposed to
is.
be negative or something.
Nope, it's just one space.
Okay.
Same thing, I guess it didn't have that issue on 5 and 6. I don't know why it did that on number 4. Okay, does that answer our questions? Do we think we can do 2 and 5 tonight for homework easily?
I can do it right now.
Well, let's not do it right now. Let's do it after class. So here's our agenda for today. We're going to look at our objectives. Remember, it's hard to know what you're supposed to learn if you don't pay attention to those objectives. And then we're going to jump back into 5.2, too big or not too big. That is the question, which, as Peyton said, that's the worst joke ever, but I think it's kind of funny. I like it. By the way, do y'all know what play that's actually from?
What?
To be or not to be.
To be or not to be?
Goodness, I know it's Shakespeare, I believe.
Alright, so I'll say this. If you can find what play that is from, then I'll give you a free homework credit.
I think it's Romeo and Juliet.
We gotta be.
First person to tell me tomorrow.
Romeo and Juliet.
Wait.
Huh?
Wait.
So too big or not too big? That is the question. That is a reference to a Shakespearean play. To be or not to be?
Yes,
That is the
Romeo and
question.
Juliet.
It is not Romeo and Juliet. Sorry, buddy.
I don't know. I don't even know who Shakespeare.
So as I said, if
Sorry.
the first person to tell me tomorrow can get a free homework grade. You might have to look something up. So looking ahead, after that, we're going to do a quick homework note at the end of class. So here's our objectives. Who read yesterday? I know Desiree did. Who else? No one wants to claim it?
I think it's Emory.
Huh?
I think it's Emory. I think.
Oh, Emery, that might be it. Peyton, can you read our first objective for us today?
I can identify and interpret the boundary lines or the constraints for a scenario.
Okay, so we talked about this idea of a boundary line pretty heavily. And the first part of that, or the main part of that, is a line, right? But the first word is boundary. And what did we talk about with the idea of a boundary line? Hmm?
I said I forgot.
Well, when you hear the word boundary, what do you think of?
Something they can't pass.
Something that you cannot pass, right? So if I have a boundary and I cannot go above, then I have to go below, right? Or if I cannot go below, then I have to go above. What mathematical concept from last unit should make us think about just being above or just being below?
Greater than, less than.
Greater than or less than, right? We only did it on number lines last time, but I shaded above a point. But now we have a line, not just a point, and so we should be thinking about inequalities again with that boundary line. We also, actually, let me get someone else to read. Shelby, can you read our second objective?
I can identify all values that satisfy the constraints of an inequality through a shaded half plane.
When we dealt with one variable things, we shaded the what?
Half plane. Or wherever one's made true.
The values that made the equation, or well, the inequality true, which are the things that Satisfy the constraints, right?
Why don't you sound happy about it?
I know. So we're shading the stuff that satisfy the constraints. So once we get a boundary line, we're going to either shade above or below. And the shading, that half plane, is also going to be our solutions. You see how everything that we learned last unit is going to help us with this unit too? Math is constantly building. That's why we need to learn from our mistakes and why I offer those opportunities to do test corrections and things like that so that you can do a retest and learn everything better, right? So we do want to learn those things. And then we established this yesterday. We looked at the fact that Carlos is considering the amount of money available for purchasing cat pens. He realizes his dad's idea of 12 cats and 12 dogs was too big because we looked at the fact that each cat pen was $32 times 12 plus each dog run was $80 plus 12 came out to be $1,344. But how much money did they have?
1,280.
So that's too big, right? They can't afford that. And so yesterday, y'all were supposed to start on finding 5 more combinations that were too big or greater than that $1,280. Some combinations that would not be too big. So that was,
You said not be too big?
if it's not too big,
Like,
Less
like-
than what?
it'd be less than that $1,280, right? But then we also, in number 3, are finding at least 5 combinations that would be just right. What would that be?
Equal to?
Equal to $1,280. And so we're trying to find different combinations of cats and dogs that satisfy these things. Don't forget, in terms of the graph, we made our x-axis and the x variable cats or dogs.
You said what? Oh, cat.
The x-axis was our cats, which made the y-axis our
Dog.
dog. So make sure you attend to that detail, because when we create a point or something like that, x comma y. Another thing I do want to finally remind you of before I let you start working in your groups again is a very important concept. Just in general, if you finish number 3 and you finish graphing everything, should you stop? No. Always move forward, right? So if you finish through number 3 with your group, move on to number 4 and 5. Because we need to try to get through this so that you can learn the most math possible to be better prepared for understanding checks and tests. So go ahead and get started on that. Devin, I think you need a sheet of paper. Oh, and I will bring your colored pencils to you. So go ahead and start working within your groups. Devin, I'll get you a piece of graph paper and I'll get you your colored pencils. So work on those, finding those 5 combinations. Something like that. Oh, you don't even need it. You already have your 5.
Oh, yeah.
So you just need,
Blue and
it's an interesting blue. It's got a green in there.
Starts off showing wait.
I would say, I think that, is it that one? Okay, that's close enough. And then, I have no clue what that is. Light brown maybe?
Oh my gosh, I can't.
That'll be close enough. And you just need 3 colors. Let me get everyone else their colors, and I'll come back with what's left, okay?
I just get one color in school.
Why would you only get 1 color?
Because I already did the other one.
Okay, and number